Welcome back to Midco Motorsports and to the National Sprint Car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa, for the 62nd running of the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's. Here inside the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, because a few raindrops are falling here today as we get set for this. Chase Raudman, you might recognize him, his face, his voice. He's a part of the DIRTVision crew that will be active here all weekend long and throughout the entire season for the World of Outlaws. And Chase, pretty rigorous schedule that you got, man. How do you keep up with this crazy pace that you guys have?
Yeah, 80-something races. I lose track every year how many races it is, but it's a whole lot of fun. Luckily, I'm still on the younger side of things, so it doesn't take it out of us too much. Luckily, I get to fly home every now and again, so that also helps a little bit. But when you get to events like this, it makes the season go by a little bit faster, because you can look forward to something like this. We get a lot of events that are pretty big on the schedule these days. So Knoxville Nationals, obviously the biggest one of the year, and we're ready to get going here. Tonight, a lot of good drivers are in the field, so it's going to be a fun week, and who knows who's going to win this thing. I feel like it's about as wide open as it's ever been before.
Yeah, and Knoxville, one of the special tracks, but there's plenty of others. Eldora, the Huset's High Bank Nationals is a big part of the schedule now as well. But the one thing I always get a kick out of is everybody's looking up to you. You're one of the taller guys, and
Yep.
A lot of these drivers aren't real big.
Exactly.
But you get to know them really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten to be friends with basically every driver that runs the tour all season long. And, basically at this point in time, everybody's just one big family really running around on the road. If we see somebody broke down on the side of the road, we're pull over to stop and help them. We had a flat tire last year on our trailer, and Jacob Allen pulled over. He helped us out. So it's just one big family out on the road. And after being out here for 3 years, like, everybody's just your friend. Everybody, their tendencies, and it's kind of crazy because a couple of years ago I was just a random guy that was hoping to be here one day and looked up to a lot of the drivers and things like that, like a Donnie Schatz, and now him and I are pretty good friends. So, it's a lot, but I wouldn't trade it, man. I'd rather be doing this than sitting in an office all the time, so it's awesome.
Well, you may have looked up to the drivers, but right now they're all looking up to you.
Yes, exactly.
You talked about how wide open the field is, and every
Yep.
year you're never quite sure who's going to kind of rise to the top, and
Yep.
the track conditions play into that. Obviously, you have to have a lot of things go well, where you qualify, where you line up in heat races with the inversion. Who do you like? Who are a couple of your favorites, do you think, to get it done?
Well, this year I think the guy that everybody's watching is Rico. I think Rico Abreu is going to be really tough to beat this year. He's been so fast all season long, and he's a guy that doesn't run with the World of Outlaws on a full-time basis. He's a part-time guy, and I think that does help him a little bit. Not having that rigorous schedule. He can take a weekend off here and there if he wants it. But I think Rico is right now my favorite going into this week. And I think the second favorite for me is Logan Schuchart. Won a prelim night last year, won the Eldora Million, won at Williams Grove earlier this year. So he's won on a couple half miles this year. Won a prelim night here last year. I think those are my top two guys, but the guy I want to see win the most is Donnie Schatz, to see if he can tie that record of Steve Kinzer. I think there's a lot of people here this week that are wanting to see that happen. Maybe a couple years ago they'd been like, man, I'm tired of seeing Donnie win, but 12 Knoxville Nationals would be insane. I don't think anybody would have thought we could see that ever again.
Yeah, 12 Knoxville Nationals champions, and last year was kind of a miracle run for him. The way he did it, it was kind of struggling throughout the season. Obviously, with his father passing away, that was big as well. And maybe it's a local one of these years too. Brian Brown or one of those guys. Chase, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate you being here. Thanks for the work you do as well.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on, and let's do it. This is going to be a fun week.